We got to get to the moment that everyone was waiting for in A$AP Rocky's assault trial here in LA. Rihanna did show up in court today, as we had reported that she would be there on Wednesday to support her man. But it got off to an interesting start because a lot of people thought, wait a second, she's not showing up. And that was read a certain way because of things that had happened in the trial yesterday. She is there, but we're going to tell you about all the things that happened behind the scenes for her to get there and the decisions that were clearly made. A$AP Rocky showed up for court with his attorney, Joe Tacopina, as he has every day. They walked into court, a huge commotion around him, more than any other day. And that's because everyone was there expecting Rihanna to walk in.
With him. But she didn't walk in with him.
And so for a moment, people were going, wait, she didn't show up. She didn't show up. What's going on? Here's what you weren't seeing. As that was going on, as he's walking in, all the cameras were on him. Rihanna was in a car that went into the parking garage. You know, you've been down there, Alex, you know.
Well, so they usually people have to go in through the front, and sometimes they make exceptions for especially high-profile people like Rihanna, who apparently was able to go around back, or maybe underground is really where it is, where you're able to get there, and then the cameras can't see you. Apparently, that's what she did. She is in the front row.
Yes, so we do know she is in court right now. The trial is going on. There is A$AP Rocky with his legal team sitting next to him. The camera has been focused on him or on A$AP Rocky, who is testifying right now.
That's all it's allowed to do. The photographer is not allowed to shoot it like you're watching some sort of sporting event and get random shots from the crowd.
Let's talk about one of the biggest bombshells in the entertainment world right now, A$AP Rocky's trial and the devastating impact it's having on Rihanna. This isn't just another celebrity scandal. This is a legal battle that could change everything for one of the music industry's most powerful couples.
This morning, a key witness is taking the stand again in rapper A$AP Rocky's gun trial.
His superstar girlfriend, Rihanna, is also in court, sitting alongside his family. Eyewitness News reporter Jaysha Patel joins us live from downtown LA with the latest on today's court proceedings. Jaysha.
Philip, Giovanna, A$AP Rocky showed up to court a little more than an hour ago, and we were waiting outside of the courthouse. So let's go straight to the video of him entering the building. You can see that he entered in from behind the courthouse. We know that Rihanna, like you mentioned, who is also a famous music artist and A$AP Rocky's partner and mother of their 2 kids, is currently in court right now to show her support, sitting between A$AP Rocky's mother and sister. Now, A$AP Rocky is charged with 2 felony counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm, and he's accused of firing a gun in 2021 at his former friend known as A$AP Rocky. Rocky, who is back on the stand right now, testified yesterday saying his friendship with Rocky was strained. Rocky claims he overheard Rocky say slurs and swear words while he was in a car with a mutual friend the day before the alleged incident, and he claims it was over a speakerphone, which Rocky didn't seem to know about. Rocky said they agreed to meet up to talk things out, but claims Rocky started shouting and grabbing him before he walked away. And this morning in court, Rocky said he followed Rocky down the street and claims he knew Rocky had a gun. But he says since they were in a public area, he didn't think Rocky would shoot at him. But he claims Rocky turned around and shot at him and then fired a second shot moments later. Rocky claims his knuckles were grazed in that incident. Now, the defense argues that Rocky was the aggressor and that Rocky fired a starter pistol to break up the fight. They say Rocky carries that starter pistol for security and that it's a prop. This morning, they're reviewing surveillance footage from that alleged incident. And back out here live, if convicted, A$AP Rocky faces up to 24 years in prison.
Now, if you haven't been keeping up, here's what's going down. A$AP Rocky, real name Rocca Myers, is facing some serious charges, 2 felony counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm, and the alleged victim is his former friend $AP REI, real named Terrell Efron. The accusations stem from an incident that happened in 2021 when REI claims Rocky pulled a gun on him and fired multiple shots, one of which grazed his hand. If convicted, Rocky could be looking at a maximum sentence of 24 years in prison. Let that sink in. 24 years, that's practically a life sentence in the world of hip-hop.
Testimony getting started now on the Los Angeles assault trial of hip-hop superstar A$AP Rocky, after his defense lawyer told the jury the case is about jealousy and lies and greed. caused by Rocky's former childhood friend. Here's a sample.
The evidence will show you it's nothing more than a money grab, nothing more. A clear attempt at extortion by Relly so he can funding this extravagant lifestyle of his.
So you see ASAP, also known as Rakeem Mayers, arriving at court as day one of the trial got started. Prosecutors accuse ASAP Rocky of pulling out a gun and shooting at an old friend known as ASAP Relly during an argument back in 2021. You're seeing surveillance video of what prosecutors say is that altercation caught on camera. The 36-year-old rapper is facing 2 felony counts of assault with a semi-automatic weapon. A guilty verdict could land him in prison for up to 24 years. Rocky is pleading not guilty. NBC News analyst Danny Savalos joining me now. Danny, how strong of a case is each side presenting here today, and what do you make of what we've heard so far on day one?
Well, the trouble with firearm possession cases, and especially use of firearm during the commission of a crime or even discharging a firearm, is that they're relatively easy to prove. You call a witness, that's the guy, he pulled out a gun, he pulled the trigger, and bullets came out of the gun. That alone will get you a conviction in most states, especially states that penalize discharging a firearm unlawfully. So that makes it a relatively strong case. But of course, in the chaos of that melee that you saw in that video, ASAP Rocky.
Now here's where things get even more intense. Rihanna, Rocky's longtime partner, and the mother of his children, has been standing by his side through it all. She shocked everyone when she walked into that courtroom sitting right next to Rocky's mother and sister, showing her unwavering support. But behind that composed exterior, you know this has to be tearing her apart.
Some daylight, because he might be able to argue that he may have been the victim, that the other guy was the aggressor. And in that chaos, he may be able to show that the government may not be able to show so easily that he did possess a gun and that he did pull the trigger.
So Rocky and his team opted to turn down an appeal of a plea deal of 180 days in jail, and then take the risk of going to trial where he could actually face real prison time, right? Is that a big gamble, given the circumstances in this case?
It is the biggest gamble of gambles. Forget Atlantic City, forget Las Vegas. I'm telling you, as a criminal defense attorney, it takes nerves of steel to turn down a plea offer, any plea offer. And that's why the vast majority of cases end in plea deals. Because let's just face it, most of us don't have the stomach to go through a criminal trial. Most of us don't have the stomach for that kind of risk. The 180 days is a known quantity, whereas you could end up 24-year maximum. But if you feel good about your case and you feel strong and you feel confident in your attorneys, then you go forward and go to trial. But few among us have that kind of chutzpah.
Or the money to be able to do this, I'm guessing, right? I mean, it's his attorneys, they're not cheap.
Actually, you know, I got to tell you, a lot of times with public defenders, those are the folks that end up going to trial a lot because their clients are like, what the heck? It's free. Why not? I don't care. Let's go to trial. I'm not paying for it.
Yeah. Danny Savalos, thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
Think about it. Just a year ago, she was celebrating becoming a mother for the second time, building a family with the man she loves, and now she's watching him fight for his freedom with the very real possibility that he might not be around to watch his kids grow up. The stress, the emotional toll, the public scrutiny, it's unimaginable.
Rapper ASAP Rocky's trial continues in Los Angeles, and his partner, superstar singer Rihanna, made her first appearance at court, though security brought her in surreptitiously to avoid crowds Wednesday morning. She sat out of view of the courtroom's cameras between Rocky's mother and sister in the downtown LA criminal courthouse. Rocky is on trial for 2 felony counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm and could get more than 24 years in prison if he's convicted.
When he shot the first shot, I felt my hand hot because I felt like I got grazed. By what? A bullet.
As Rihanna watched, his former friend and accuser testified that Rocky pulled out a gun, shot at him, and injured his hands on a Hollywood street in 2021. The trial continues.
And let's not forget the media circus surrounding this trial. Every move Rihanna makes, every glance, every whisper, it's all being dissected online. Some fans are supporting her, while others are asking the tough questions. How much did she know? Is she in denial? And most importantly, how will she move forward if Rocky is convicted? But let's get to the real question on everyone's mind: what actually happened that night in 2021?
Welcome back. The trial for hip-hop star A$AP Rocky is what's trending in true crime this morning. Opening statements kick off today. The Grammy-nominated rapper is accused of shooting at a former friend near a Hollywood hotel back in 2021. Rocky's real name is Rakim Mayers, and he declined a plea offer to spend 180 days in jail ahead of his trial. He faces a maximum sentence of 24 years in prison if he's convicted. Let's take a look at the jury breakdown. We've got 12 jurors who are going to hear this case. 5 of them are men, 7 of them are women. According to TMZ, none of the jurors, including the 4 alternates, are African American. None of them. And we know the defense was taking issue with the pool earlier this week. Now, the defense team plans to call witnesses to testify that the alleged firearm seen on security footage, alleged to be carried by Rocky, was a starter pistol he carried as a prop, pointing to why no shell casings were found at the scene. The surveillance footage is grainy of the actual shooting, maybe hard to identify the shooters wearing a dark hoodie, hard to see the face, and we know that the alleged victim collected the spent cartridge casings himself and brought them to police, which could prove to be problematic. So if you saw my opening statement, you're going to know what we're asking. We're wondering, is this trial going to be a stinker? In other words, is this a bad case for the prosecution? Maybe, maybe not. Let's see what our power panel thinks. Let's bring back in criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Joe Tamburino, and welcome in domestic violence expert and former law enforcement officer Claudia King, and media personality and artist Headcrack. Good morning to you all. Okay, is this one a stinker? Ladies first. Claudia King, what do you say?
It definitely sounds like it, Julie, because the prosecution made that offer.
According to REI, he and Rocky had a confrontation on the street in Hollywood, and things escalated fast. He claims Rocky pulled a gun, aimed it at him, and fired multiple shots. One of those bullets allegedly grazed his hand, leaving him in shock. And here's where things get even crazier. REI says he was the one who collected the shell casings from the scene, not the police.
180 days in jail. To me, that shows that they don't have a ton of confidence in this case if they were going to let it go for just 180 days. It sounds like the video is blurry. It's hard to tell if it's really A$AP Rocky. There's the issue with the shell casings and the fact that the victim turned them over and collected them allegedly. So I just see this being very problematic for the prosecution.
Yeah, great points. Claudia, thank you. Great point about the plea deal. When you have such a sweetheart deal, could mean that, you know, the case stinks. Headcrack, I want to go to you next, please. Your thoughts on this? Is this a stinker or maybe a solid case?
It sounds a little sloppy, and like what she was saying, if they're gonna offer you 180 days, which is way sweeter than 24 possible years in prison, and you decide to, like, I like our odds on this, and I'm just gonna go for it because we know what we know. I think the defense probably feels like they have a very fortified defense on their side that'll be able to prove that A$AP Rocky wasn't trying to really hurt this man, but just scare him off, fend him off, or whatever. And it's just so problematic from the prosecution side.
All right, Headcrack, I like what you said about sloppy. You said this seems sloppy. Headcrack, I think you're right. I think that this is going to be a little bit of a mess when it goes to trial, and the defense already getting the prosecution fired up. They dropped this little bomb this week about saying it's a prop gun, not a real gun, because he's seen on video holding what looks like a gun. And so they're saying, no, not real. And the prosecution saying they've been ambushed by the defense with this new theory. Joe Tamburino, last but not least, want to get your thoughts on all of this, please.
2 things. First of all, it's highly problematic for the prosecution.
Are you aware of tension between you and the defense? Too much. At the point that the defendant is saying those things about you on the phone, were you also feeling tension in your relationship with him?
I mean, it's kind of always been like that. So it's really hard to have a relationship with Rocky.
Can you explain that?
I mean, you want to tell me my personal experience? Or
yes.
I feel like he's fake.
How so?
He lies a lot. Like, I don't see him, so it's like, how are we gonna have a relationship? You know what I mean?
Is there anything specific that you can think of?
Yeah, with like my companies or just anything, like overall. Like, you know what I mean? Like I had this one joke I call him Mr. 6-month man. Because I would see him every 6 months. You know what I mean? But then when he come around, it's like, it's fake. You know what I mean? Like, what are we supposed to be in this case happening for? It's all smoke and mirrors.
Did you actually voice your displeasure?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How did you do that?
Through text messages, but nothing ever like threatening him or anything, just mostly telling him like.
But you would text message him and say.
And he won't text me back. He would never text me back.
Okay.
I'll probably see him and we'll have a conversation. He'll be like, oh bro, you emotional or something like that. And it tends.
He calls you emotional. You heard that as an insult to you, correct?
Not really.
Okay, how did you take it?
Like he's trying to shoot me off. Like using that as like leverage to be like, not get business done, I guess.
All right, I want to direct your attention to the very next day, so November 6th, 2021, the day of this incident. Where were you staying at that night in Los Angeles?
Staying at the Lowe's Hotel in Hollywood.
And that evening, did you have any plans to meet up with the defendant at all?
No, I haven't spoken to him in months, probably prior to that. I texted him, but he never answered me back.
You mentioned in your earlier answer that there was this event called Complex Con that was going on that weekend, correct?
Yes.
And I believe you said the defendant was actually performing at that concert series, correct?
Yeah.
Did you have plans to go with the defendant to Complex Con?
No. I wasn't on that jet. I didn't get no phone call, so why would I, you know what I mean?
So that's, I guess, what I'm asking you to explain. As far as Complex Con, you had no plans to go there, and certainly not to go with him, correct? Did you have plans to go with Ills or with 12?
No.
What was your business in Los Angeles at that time?
Working with my artists.
And if you can recall, what are the hours that you're working with your artists?
Rocky, despite having a license to carry, was carrying a prop from a music video with partner Rihanna and was advised by security to carry it after being the victim of a stalker in home invasions. It's used in pop movies, and in music videos it's also used to scare packers by looking and sounding like a real gun, adding that Rocky fired blank shots to stop a friend from continuing to attack a fellow crew member. Rocky pleaded not guilty and turned down a plea deal that included 180 days in jail. Now, if he is found guilty, he faces the possibility of up to 24 years in prison. One thing's for sure, Rihanna is feeling the weight of it all, and as the trial continues, the whole world will be watching to see what happens next.